Do you guys want to shout out and to know everything about the Golden State Warriors? Then go on ahead and hit that sub button for me on Warriors Today by Chat Sports, because I'm going to be doing a new subscriber shout out in my next video. So all you have to do is hit that sub button for me. Dub Nation, what's going on? I'm your host of Warriors Today, Allie, Barefoot. Producer Smitty is right here to my right, and we're talking about two major topics today. One of them is a conversation Warriors fans have been having the last year, and that's the fact that Warriors are blowing leads and losing games. But why? And the second one is a possible Chris Paul trade that could happen around the NBA trade deadline that could benefit the Warriors, a Western Conference team, or an Eastern Conference team. But that's going to be towards the end of the video, so you're going to want to stick around for that one. But like I said, the Warriors are blowing leads and losing. It's happened 4 times in less than a month. But why? They have championship-level players. Why do they keep letting the ball literally slip away from their hands and hand the win to their opponent? Well, let's break down those losses and the blown leads. In the past month, they played the Oklahoma City Thunder, and they lost 130-123 in overtime. That was a 14-point lead. They looked like they had that in the bag, and they blew it. That was without Draymond Green. Then they went on ahead and had an NBA in-season tournament game against the Kings, a nice in-state rivalry it's become, 124-123. This was a very last-minute type of basket, last-minute win for the Kings, but a 24-point lead, it should have been done. Same thing with the Clippers 2 games later. 22-point lead blown. Another overtime loss against a very powerful Thunder team, lost by 2. 18-point lead at one point in the game, and it vanished. This pattern has been an issue since last year, and it has now trickled into this season. I'm not here for it. I know you guys aren't here for it, and neither are the Warriors. But did you know that in that most recent loss to the Oklahoma City Thunder, the Warriors set an NBA single-season record for this year of 28 turnovers. That is the most by a team in any NBA game so far this season, and I'm wondering, where are these turnovers even happening? Some of them are directly to the opponent, others are just cookies that they get away with, but I actually broke it down in the last 10 games they've played, which includes some of those big blowouts. The first half, their turnover ratio, 17.5%. But their second half is only 15.5%. So the turnover ratio is being more effective in the first half than the second half of these ball games. So when they're blowing these leads, it's not necessarily fourth quarter blows or third quarter blows as well with the turnovers. It's how they start. And when you look at somebody like Steph Curry, who's not going to put up with this, he's on his MVP caliber season. Anthony Slater said that this was after the Oklahoma City Thunder loss. Once again, 18-point lead. They blew out. Curry said, I don't know, man. And this is an answer to why does this keep happening. He said, you got to figure it out or stop talking about it and do it. Or else you'll be into the new year with the same problems. Sounds familiar, Steph Curry. And he's kind of sick of talking about it. I am too. I know you guys are. So they're playing the Suns next game. On Tuesday, I want to see what will happen. This is going to be my pinned comment on today's video, so we can go back and see if you guys are right. Do you think the Warriors will have more or less than 10.5 turnovers against the Suns? Go ahead and type M for more, L for less. And while you guys are doing that, I'm going to tell you guys about Prize Picks. This is where you can really put your more and less picks to the test and win some real money in real time. All you have to do is pick between 2 to 6 players and pick more or less on their projected stats, and you can win up to 25 times your money on any entry. It's super easy to do. It only takes less than 60 seconds to make your pick, and what's super great about Prize Picks is that they actually have combo picks for the in-season tournament. I went on ahead and took advantage of Monday Night Football and a nice NBA game. I got Jokic and Hill having more than 17.5 receptions and assists, Tommy DeVito having less than 176.5 passing yards, and Jarrett Allen with more than 12.5 points. Go on ahead and submit your picks. All you have to do is go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use promo code CLNS for a first-time deposit match up to $100, and you can watch yourself win some real money in real time. Now, when we're talking about turnover problems, that's not an issue with Chris Paul. He's actually been a very big bright spot in the turnover problem for the Warriors so far this season. He averages very few a game, which is a breath of fresh air. But he's being paid nearly $31 million a year. Is it worth it to keep Chris Paul, or should we go out and get more generational talent right now? And when you look at his past 4 years, obviously he's played with the Suns in some of those years and see what he's been doing. 13.9 points per game. You know, he's getting older. He's up there. He's 38 years old. That was last season. I'll be honest, this season, the way he's been starting, he's playing some of the worst basketball he has in the past 4 years. Nearly 9 points per game this season, 3.6 rebounds this season, 7.2 assists, which is great, but 39% from the field. That's not good. Chris Paul isn't really the missing link the Warriors may have needed. In that sense, he does make a difference when he's on the court, but is it enough to get the Warriors another ring? Well, reports show that there may be some other teams around the Western Conference and the Eastern Conference that could benefit from a veteran like Chris Paul. Look, you got some of the best veterans on your team for the Warriors. Draymond, Clay, and Steph Curry. Do you need another veteran like Chris Paul? Does he make that much of a difference? If he does, let me know. But overall, the Spurs could be pretty interested in somebody like Chris Paul. Why? Because they have one of the best rookies that we have seen so far this year in Wembanyama. So essentially, why would the Spurs ever trade away something for Chris Paul? Why would they make a trade in the first place other than being nearly last in the Western Conference? Well, they need players to build around Wembanyama. And Popovich and CP3 have actually worked together in previous years. Of course, seeing Team USA and all the other stuff. Popovich and CP3, they work well together as player and coach. And then the Spurs have not played a playoff in the past 4 years. So they're begging for some help. And they need a floor general. So why would it not be CP3? Well, Sports Illustrated actually provided this trade here. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not a big fan of it. Not for the Warriors' sake, at least. So the Warriors would receive Doug McDermott, Devontae Graham, and Cedi Osman. And then, of course, the Spurs would receive Chris Paul and Corey Joseph. Well, these aren't even starters for the Spurs. The Spurs who are doing worse than the Warriors are right now. So you're getting second and third string players on the already struggling Spurs, and they're going to get an up-and-coming point guard and Chris Paul. And that's just not a good trade, in my opinion. Plus, this doesn't really answer the problem the Warriors have been having in the sense that they need a true C, a big, fat guy to stand in the paint and put some size and meat on the Warriors. That's their main thing. But then they went on ahead and got a point guard. So this trade doesn't really make sense and or solve the Dubs problem. So I have my own trade I'm going to present to you guys right after you answer this question for me. Should the Warriors even trade Chris Paul? Like I said, he's $30.8 million a year. Think of the players they could possibly get with a salary like Chris Paul's by the trade deadline or before the trade deadline. Type T for trade, type K for keep. While you guys are thinking about that, I want to introduce you my trade. Look, the Chicago Bulls are being brought up again because the Chicago Bulls are begging and pleading for somebody to make a trade with them because they're ready to rebuild their team. And they said they don't want some schmuck. They don't want some rookie. They want a guy who's going to come in and help them win. That's why I think Chris Paul could actually be beneficial there. He's been winning. He doesn't have a ring on his hand, but Chris Paul knows how to win. He's a veteran. He can help a team rebuild. And you get Vucevic, you get Patrick Williams, you get Torrey Craig, you get a C, you get a power forward, you get a small forward. This is size the Warriors need. You got shooters. You could always benefit from another one. But overall, I think the Chicago Bulls would actually like to have somebody like Chris Paul and even a younger guy like Trayce Jackson-Davis that they can just create and make their own. I don't want to see TJD go. I think he has a lot of potential for the Warriors, but overall, the Dubs need size. And Chris Paul is not size. The Warriors do need to make a trade. However, it needs to be beneficial for this year and for the near future. I don't want them to make a trade and go get somebody on like the Spurs who's not even starting for the Spurs just to make a trade and to clear up some salary cap. I'd rather them go out, get somebody that can actually help them win right now. But would you guys do this trade? Go on ahead and type A for accept, type D for decline. Of course, this is the Chicago Bulls and the Warriors trade, and the Chicago Bulls have been adamant about making a trade with somebody. So hopefully something will happen before the NBA trade deadline or by the NBA trade deadline. But that's why you guys subscribe to this channel, because we are going to help you out with everything you need to know about the Golden State Warriors. I want you guys to go ahead and hit that sub button for me because, like I said, you can get a subscriber shout out next video if you do hit that sub button. If you guys already subscribed, shout out to the real ones, but nonetheless, we want you updated with all the information, so hit that sub button for me.